So there's been this debate on who owns the police payroll. It's been going on for quite some time, but much focus was not put to it until now that it has put a stop to the entire police recruitment. Here at the Civic Lens today, I'm your host Ogola, and we'll be taking a look at three major stories. The first is that, then the second will be the abduction of two Kenyans in Ugandan borders on Wednesday. But our major story today is the Baringo by-election. So let's start with this story. Sometimes back, the conversation began on who really owns the police payroll. Is it the National Police Service Commission who should be in charge of the police payroll, or is it the Inspector General of Police who is supposed to be in charge of the police payroll? So let's start from the beginning so that I put everything in context. The police payroll is around 60 billion Kenyan shillings annually. It's very sensitive, and there has been a debate on who actually owns it. The National Police Service Commission is the commission in charge of the civilian operations of the police, which means they are in charge of running the human resource and the employment of every other civilians that is within the police service. That's their constitutional mandate and Article 246 of the Constitution. Then there is created the Office of the Inspector General of the Police, where now Douglas Kanja sits right now. Here is where the technical, recruitment and operational duties of the police, or rather if you like it, the legal government aspect of the police takes place at, under the auspices of the leadership of the Inspector General. So lately there has been a debate on whether it should be within the space of the civilian aspect where the human resource is that takes care of the 60 billion annual payroll of the police, or it should be an operational role under the auspices of the Inspector General Douglas Kanja that should be in charge of the 60 billion payroll. So this debate has now found its tables within the court system. The billionaire former MP of Kilome, Honorable Arun Mwau, has now gone to court, and he has halted the entire recruitment of police, which was supposed to begin last Friday, until further notice, until this matter is settled. He's saying that the National Police Service really should not have an hand in running the 60 billion payroll that belongs to the police service. He is supporting the position that this is a delineation of the Office of the Inspector General of Police. And so to make sure that operations run smoothly, to make sure that the Office of the Inspector General is respected in that form of hierarchy, this particular payroll thing cannot be given to the commission. They believe that the commission, where Douglas Kanja sits, Amin sits, head of DCI, the deputies of Kanja sits, and the chairperson of that committee is called Yado Komora. Mr. Yado Komora is saying that it's within the Human Resource Department of the National Police Service Commission to run the payroll issue, and it's not really an operational issue under the auspices of the Inspector General. So we are yet to see what the courts are going to, determine this to be, because with the petition of Aaron Mwaru now requiring that a determination be made legally that the payroll belongs to the Inspector General and not the National Police Service Commission, it will set a precedent. But we have seen the Office of the Attorney General supporting the same Aaron Mwaru position, and the IG Kanja. The Office of the Attorney General now is saying that the National Police Service National Police Service Commission really should not interfere with the payroll issue, which according to the Office of the Attorney General, Ms. Kamara, who was responding to a petition by Shadrack Wambui, hinted that they are siding with the Kanja statement that this particular payroll needs to be under the auspices of the IG. Now, beyond the debate in courts, because of course we cannot discuss it at length until a determination is made upon it, let us look at why a former MP of Kilome and a billionaire would really have an interest on who controls the police payroll. And this 60 billion not being given to a commission where accountability could be spread against or across the board, across the number of the board, but is being left to one hand, the Office of the Inspector General, to run the entire 60 billion scheme. Interest might play beyond the police payroll in this scheme, but let's not discuss it beyond that place right now. Now, our other story is the abduction of these two Kenyans that occurred in Uganda on Wednesday. You see, the East African presidents largely have been blamed to have this system of abduction. Under our own umbrella here at home, you know that abductions has been something that the youth has been protesting against for quite some time. Sometimes individuals are taken by the DCI, sometimes individuals are taken by unknown people, and it's been an issue that has been sensitive locally. However, the president has come out clearly to say and has protected that the people who are abducted would return back home. We have seen a return of a few of them. And also, if you look at Tanzania, just sometimes back there was a statement of Agatha and Boniface Mwangi being abducted within the space of Tanzania and being tortured. These were actually Kenyan citizens who, according to Tanzanian leaders, were interfering with the democratic space within Tanzania. So these individuals who took activism beyond our borders into Tanzania were abducted by the Tanzanian government, and according to their own recounts and recollection, really went through traumatic experiences. But now we are seeing the same thing with Uganda. Not shortly after we discussed the abduction of the gentleman BCJ Kiza, when he came to the book launch of Martha Karua in one of our episodes here, The Civic Lens, where the Kenyan police coalesced with the Ugandan police to transfer him across the border. Now we are seeing Nicholas Oyoo and a gentleman called Njagi, his name is called Bob Njagi, are actually now being abducted in the Ugandan space. So let's start this story from the beginning. These two gentlemen, Bob Njagi and Nicholas Oyoo, crossed the border to Uganda sometimes back to join in the campaigns of a gentleman called Robert Kyagulanyi, but commonly known as Bobi Wine. They are seen taking part in the campaigns of Bobi Wine, taking part in the rural transportation of Bobi Wine's cohort, and taking part in the entire activity of Bobi Wine's rally. Now, shortly after that, they leave the confines of Uganda, Kampala town, towards East Kampala. There is a place called Kireka in East Kampala, where they stop at a petrol station to check their car. Here, 4 armed men comes and picks them from this particular petrol station to a known destination. So from Wednesday until now, we do not know where Bob Njagi is, and also we do not know where Nicholas Oyoo is. So the only thing we know is that they were abducted while at a petrol station by individuals that were armed. Whether these individuals were Kenyan officials or Ugandan officials or Tanzanian officials, we don't know, because now this series of abduction is something spread across the border. But we have seen activism around it. Bobi Wine himself has called on the states of Uganda to release these individuals. Babu Owino locally, when he went to the Dalmas Otieno burial, called on Museveni to actually call, Mudavadi to call Museveni so that these 2 individuals should be released. It's very sensitive that this Bob Njagi individual was also abducted sometimes back in August 2024 here at home and was tortured for 30 days, then released without charge. So this happening again shortly after he was just in the hands of other captures is something that shows that he has a really bold spirit in what he believes in and in democracy across the border. But there are other Kenyans who have criticized the move by certain activists to go beyond the border. Just like Sudi did sometimes back, there are Kenyans that feel like our own challenge of our democracy restricts within our own borders. And so when we take our need for equality and human rights beyond the borders, notably in countries where human rights have not peaked adequately as Kenya, then we subject ourselves to their own way of dealing with such rapports. But the bigger dream is that perhaps we get into a level within the East African community where human rights will be an issue that can be enforced across border. So it's a call that all Kenyans really needs to rally behind to request for the release of Bob Njagi and Nicholas Oyoo back to our government in safe hands. Having done that civic duty of requesting the countries across the border to release our citizens back home, now let's look at the main story today. Our main story today rotates around the KANU by-elections likelihood of success that's going to occur in Baringo. So Baringo's Senator Honorable William Cheptumo was William Cheptumo passed on 15th of February this year, leaving a vacancy in that particular position. So individuals have fronted themselves for this seat. Within the UDA space themselves, there were over 8 of them who went to the party primaries to replace William Cheptumo. 8 of them, and out of the 8, Vincent Kiprono Chemitel won with around 48,000 votes from the UDA party primaries to become the person that will flag the UDA flag in that particular by-election. But we have also witnessed other independent candidates coming in, like Benjamin Chebon, who is coming as an independent candidate to contest in that position. We've also seen boldly a lady from this region, and this is something that we have to say very cautiously and with pride, that it's notable to see a lady going for a position of senatorial position of Baringo County. This part of Rift Valley having been known to actually have delayed in giving access and opportunities to the female parts of the society. So it's actually really commendable to see Daisy Chepto Kimosop going as an independent candidate for that senatorial position. It shows development of wokeness, and it also shows development of recognition of human rights in small spaces, even if in the entire East Africa region we are still having problems with it. So these three have presented their interest for that position, but the ground waves are rallying towards the Moi Jr., the current son of the former president, the late Daniel Arap Moi, and currently the chairperson of the Independence Party, KANU, that's Honorable Gideon Moi. People are saying that Honorable Gideon Moi has the most likelihood of winning this race, and the likelihood comes from the fact that he's tested and is tried, tested, and he has been found, fit to actually lead in this position before. You remember Honorable Gideon Moi walked into politics in 2002 when he clung to the power of the Baringo Central Parliamentary seat, where his father had been the member of parliament for 40 years. So his father handed it over to him in 2002. He served for one term and failed in 2007 to reclaim that position. In 2013, with the inception of the new constitution that introduced devolution, Honorable Gideon went for the Senate position and won overwhelmingly with over 80% support rallying behind him. He was again re-elected in 2017 for this seat. So it shows you how his support developed. At first, maybe he walked into the political scene in 2002 when he was an amateur, perhaps lost in 2007 because he had not had his grasp of how politics works. But after 5 years of being outside power, he comes back in 2013 and wins overwhelmingly and gets re-elected in 2017. So it's in 2022 when Cheptumo took this particular seat, and as fate might have it, may his soul rest in peace, he passed on 15th February this year. So people are fronting again interest in this position, but Baringo former Senator Honorable Gideon Moi is coming to known grounds. This is a place where he's been before. This is a place where he served in at one term, and critics, or rather analysis from the ground, is showing that people are receptive towards his bid to return as the senator of Baringo. So hapa, even if the UDA government has fronted a candidate, it's most likely that this is KANU's backyard. This is where President Ruto comes from. President Moi came from. And so it's a place that, for the legacy of Moi and for the legacy of KANU, party politics might not play a very key role. Most likely people are going to rally behind Honorable Gideon Moi. And that's what the County Assembly Leader of Minority has confirmed. Honorable Daniel Tuwit has asked all the other leaders to actually just step down and give this win smoothly to Honorable Gideon Moi, who they believe, or he believes, is the best candidate to take that on. Now, that having been said, you remember sometimes back Kindiki asked all the UDA aspirants within that region to agree and give one candidate. And at some times back also there was contest between the UDA officials like Sudi and other individuals like Duale, who felt that it was not fit for really Gideon to go for that seat. But people like the gentleman called Sudi told Duale to really focus on Northeastern and leave that region for them to decide. So others have said that individuals like Chemitel, actually, that's Vincent Kiprono Chemitel, who won the UDA primaries, could just be being put there as a show to show that the government or the UDA party is actually fronting a candidate, while even the government, President Ruto, might have interest in rallying behind the Honorable Gideon Moi. So we will keep you updated on how the politics of Baringo keeps developing towards 27th of November. The same way we'll keep you updated on Beire North, Malava, Kasipul, and all these other places that have constituency by elections. But as it stands right now, it seems like the stars are aligning for the young Moi for his second term at Baringo County. This is the Civic Lens.